Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today, and thank you very much for being with us. Today we have the pleasure to have as our speaker Kim Underhill, President of BPW Singapore. She has 25 years of experience in international business and management, and with a BA in Business Administration, Marketing, and MS in both HR and Industrial Organization Psychology. She is a keynote speaker, trainer, coach, and the author of Success Inside Out, Challenge of Our Choice. She is a strong advocate for women through her Winning in Heels Diversity and Inclusion program. And in today's webinar, she will present to us her leadership model, Holistic Leadership. Thank you very much, Kim, and thank you very much for all of you to be here. The floor is yours, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Yasmin. And thank you, Anne, for inviting me to be a part of the Leadership in BPW series. Greatly appreciate the opportunity. I shall share my slide right now. Let me just get that. Okay, everybody get to see that okay? All good? Great.
Yes,
wonderful.
Perfect.
Well, welcome to New Age Leadership. It is basically the holistic approach to succeed in self-leadership, team leadership, and business leadership, right? Can I see a show of hands of all the leaders in the room? Yay, we have many of us, right? Good job. I'm going to show you something very quickly. Many of us recognize this brand. This was my life for 25 years. As a leader in a multinational organizations, I look after all of these key account management, some globally, some regionally. And what I sell, I represent organizations that produce F&B equipment primarily, before I move into kitchen, and then, all of us into kitchens and then into commercial laundry. So this has always been my background. F&B, not on the food side, but on the equipment side. And then I went on, 3 years ago, I've decided to leave the corporate life. And what you see now here was my last team, the last team that I led, the last management team that I led 3 years ago before I left the organization. As you can see from the photographs, we did had a lot of fun, right? Does this picture give you an idea what kind of a leader was I? Did I have a lot of fun? Was I being silly? What kind of leader are you? Right? Do you need to be always very stoic and serious? Or do you always want to have fun just as much as you? I always believe, as hard as you work, remember to have as much fun as well. Of course, the decision to leave corporate was so that I can do this. Today, I work alone. They call it a solopreneur. Now, by looking at this, when I'm working alone, do you think I am still a leader? Am I still a leader, right? Sometimes I ask myself, when I'm not doing anything, when I'm not in front of a stage or people, who am I leading? So the question I have for all of you now, take a look at this jungle full of animals. If you were to wake up tomorrow morning and become one of these animals, or any animal that you can think of, what animal would you want to be and why? Just type it on the chat group so that we can everybody can have a look and see what you're thinking. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat as well. There's so many. Anybody wants to be an elephant, a panda bear, a tiger, lion, a fox? It could be anything. Right? But this is something for you to think about. When you think of the animal that you're going to wake up to be, right? Why do you want that animal? And how is that animal going to represent you as a leader? Is there anything that says about you? When you start thinking about it, you will ask yourself, what quality of this animal that resonate with you? I'll share with you a very simple exercise that I did with my family quite some time ago. We were sitting around and I asked my brother, my sister, and my mom the same question: what kind of animal would you like to be? And this is what came out. The four of us, my sister and I, decided we want to be eagles. You know, we are one of those, my mom said, we cannot sit still. We need to be running around, flying, soaring, doing all kinds of stuff. But my brother, on the other hand, wants to be a lion. His reason for being a lion is, I want to lead a pride, but I don't have to do the hunting. I will protect my team. Let all the lioness go do the running. So I am leading in some way, right? Right? And then comes my mother. She said she wants to be a pigeon. And all three of us went, pigeon? Why? So simply, I'll come to that very shortly. We talk about eagle. When you're an eagle, when you're a leader, the first thing, okay, America, this is your icon, right? We talk about the bow eagle. You're powerful. They're very sharp. They may be so high up in the sky, but they are so sharp and so focused on exactly what they're looking for and what they're aiming for. And what they do, they dive right into it and make it happen. And with their sharp beak, they're able to tear apart anything that is raw. You know, so that's a lot of power there. Then when we come to lion, yes, they are the king of jungle, right? But they are also very protective of their pride. I believe many of us saw Lion King, right? The Mufasa, you know, how he protect his family. But lion is also an animal that command respect. They are proud. They are very full of pride, very proud, tall, authoritative. That's the kind of leader they want to be. And when it comes to pigeon, what do pigeon do? When I asked my mom, what's the reason behind wanting to be a pigeon? Her answer was, well, while people may eat me, but remember, I make them happy. I make them feel full. So it's a kind of servant leadership that we talk about. You know, we have leaders who are constantly serving, who are constantly very humble. So when you look at these three animals here, you don't have to be always powerful, always commanding respect, always be in authoritative positions to be a leader. Every now and then, it is always good for you to be able to serve, right? So that brings me to, let me click it. What is holistic leadership? This is a program I developed many, many years ago. It's called the New Age Leadership. When somebody think about New Age leadership, they think about the scientific part, somewhere in the galaxy. But in this day and time, we're looking at New Age leadership from a very, very different perspective. We will be looking at it from the self-leadership, the team leadership, and the business leadership perspective. Of course, with the time that we have, I'm not going to be able to go through the whole 6 module that is shown here. I'm going to share you a little bit nuggets about some of them, snippets of it. The idea about leadership, the first and foremost, as a leader, we have to always lead ourselves first. We cannot constantly be trying to lead someone else when we are not ready, when we do not have a strong foundation. And without the team, okay, without self-leadership, there's no way we'll be able to build a strong and capable and effective team. And without that team, there's no way you will be able to produce a profitable business, a business that will continuously grow. So that's the reason what got me into thinking about New Age leadership. So today I'm going to touch just one point on my first module that is called Success Inside Out. When we look at that, we look at simple. You know, is leadership ever simple? Well, to me it is. In any position, whether you are someone who's working alone, you're someone who wants to be a manager and a better leader, or someone who just simply want to be a better you, I always suggest, look at the simple rules of success. And these are just some of the key points. When we look at self, right, the SIMPLE, when you look at self, one simple thing that I keep telling people, many people love to point at somebody else when there's an issue. It is because of them, because of him, because of her. But then when you turn around, when you're pointing at someone else, There's only one finger that's looking at somebody else, and there's three that's pointing at ourselves. How often do we actually evaluate what we do? You know, it's always easy to blame someone else. So this is something that we have to do first thing. Look at ourselves before we look at somebody else. And point number 2 is very simple. I call it the daily intention. As a leader or as a person, as anybody that we are here, when you wake up in the morning, do you consciously tell yourself, what is my intention for the day? What is my intention for me, for my team, and for my business? I'm not talking about a task list, a checklist of things to do. I'm talking about, do we reflect on what are the true intention of our day? For instance, this evening or morning or afternoon for you, you sign up to attend to be a part of this session. At the back of your mind, do you ask yourself, what is my intention of attending this session? What am I thinking of getting out of it? Or am I simply being supportive? I just want to be a part of BPW's event as much as I can. I just want to be here to see who are the people that's attending. It's fine. But consciously, you have to ask yourself, what is my intention? Because without intention setting, hopefully every day, you will not be able to debrief yourself on whether, have I done what I said I wanted to do on a daily basis? The other thing about a very simple rules for a leader is mindset. We know about mindset, the positive and the negative, right? The positive mindsets are people who are with open mindset, who's always willing to listen, not just from their bosses or their peers, but always open and willing to listen to everybody else that they're working with. Having a closed mindset can be a very dangerous thing. We've often hear people say, oh, please leave me alone. You know, I have, this is me, it is not you. That is very fixed. Some people say that is very stubborn. To be a leader, you need to constantly have an open mindset. But then again, the danger of always having an open mindset is you become too flexible. Where the wind blows, you go. Where you are constantly looking at consensus. You know how leaders hate to make decisions? We've come across one or two of those. Leaders who doesn't make decision. What they want to say, so what do you think? So what do you think? So what do you think? You know, only when they get enough consensus to back them up, will they make a decision. So that also is a dangerous part as far as mindset is concerned, right? Of course, we talk about positive mindset, negative mindset. Whenever we are in a challenging position or we're facing anything that is very negative, I always tell one person, remove yourself away from the environment that is negative, because there is no way you can lead if you are in a position whereby there's too much noise, especially negative ones. So learn to be able to remove yourself from negativity so that you can think better. It doesn't necessarily positive, but so that you can get yourself out of the dark hole. So it's a mindset shift that we're talking about. So when we talk about presence, the next point, presence is not about what you wear, how you dress, do you have makeup today, are you doing your hair? Presence is more about, are you here? You know, now we're in the age of virtual meeting. We all know there's a lot of people who want to be a part of it, who wants to be supportive. So they turn on their Zoom, but you can't see them. They are there, but they're not really there. So the question is, as a leader, when you are in a meeting with a team of people, are you truly present for them? Or are you being selective to what you want to hear and then ignore what you are not so interested in? Because as a leader, you cannot pick. You have to be there for your people all the time. So the question is, even when you're talking to somebody one-on-one, or you're talking to a group of 10, 20 people, are you truly there? How often we have always been in meetings where our mind went off somewhere else until somebody asks you a question, you turn around and say, sorry, what did you just say? I didn't get it. But it's not that. We have actually zoned out, right? So it's the same thing. I have come across, I think somebody's microphone is on. Train of thought, right. I have been in meetings where some topics that was discussed are just not so interesting. And it allows us to become bored and we start to disappear. We are physically there, we're mentally no longer there, right? That can even happen when you're one-on-one, how our mind works. So the question is that, are you consciously telling yourself, I need to focus, whether I like it or not? There's one thing that I do in order to help me focus. As I listen to someone, I make sure I take note. When I take note, at least if I kind of like drift off a little bit, I can still come back by looking at my note. Right? One speaker once shared, yes, we all take digital note. We all write on our devices, but nothing beats writing on a book or a piece of paper. Because when you're actually writing it with your handwriting, you can remember it better. That's a science, there's a study behind it. So I won't go into the detail. But the thing is that regardless of where you are, how present are you as a leader, as a manager? How present are you? How sincere are you in front of these people? So that's very important. So it's about managing oneself, right? The next point is about leadership. Leadership, I just want to talk about the word lead, L-E-A-D. As a leader, how frequent are you in a learning mode? How often, or when was the last time you put yourself in a workshop, in a training environment so that you can learn? Are you constantly learning from the people around you, be it from all the stakeholders basically? Are you learning all the time? Point number 2, all of us loves to pile our plate really high with all kinds of tasks and things to do. Do you know how to eliminate? Look at your plate. Look at your wheel of life, your daily life. Is there somewhere you can eliminate the tasks that you've been doing day in, day out? Maybe take 30 minutes or an hour out so that that time that is eliminated can allow you to do something that is a lot more fruitful, can allow you to learn. Even if you're watching YouTube to learn something, but you take specifically, consciously tell yourself, how can I manage myself in terms of managing my time better, right? I need to look at my daily tasks, find a way to eliminate things that are maybe important to everybody else, but not necessarily to you. Look at that task list that you have and try to eliminate and find 30 minutes of your time so that you can use that to focus on something that you can learn. Because only through that will you be able to adjust the way you behave from day to day. We talk about daily intention, right? So if you want to learn, but you don't have the time, there's no way you can change your leadership style. And without adjusting your leadership style, there's no way you can deliver the goal that you want to achieve. Hence the importance of understanding how to lead yourself. Last but not least on these simple rules of success is expectation. Just like a mother, often than not, we will tell our children, why are you not picking up your clothes? Why are you not scoring this? Why are you not doing this, right? Because we have an expectation, just like all the bosses and leaders. I expect my team to do this. I expect somebody to do that. Einstein said, expectation is the biggest heartache because you know why? We are expecting somebody to do something in according to our goal, but that person is not us. So how do we manage expectation? We can have expectation, but we just have to hope for the best, that effort has been put in. It's like someone going sitting for a test or examination. Even if the person studies 24/7, 7 days a week, there is no guarantee that this person is going to score A. So it's like anything else in life, there's no guarantee. So it's good to set an expectation, but you need to be able to manage your expectation as a leader, right? Because the people that you have, every one of them behaves differently, have a different skill, different style, different ability, different way of responding to you. So how do you expect for all to, there's no one size fit all model for expectation. So the key to managing expectation is about giving your best and also hoping for the best. When you learn to shift your mind that way, you will be a happier leader because you are managing within what is possible, right? Okay, that is just one simple first step on Success Inside Out, which is part of the New Age leadership. I will not go through to the rest. I'll jump to the next model. The next module is about squad effectiveness. It's about how do we build the ultimate team solution. As a leader, that is important. You need that team. But then again, how do you build that team? By selecting first. Now the question is, do you select somebody to be a part of the team based on gut feel? Many of us has done that. We may have somebody we like more than the others, right? We can communicate better. You think this person is more friendly or a friend, but then that could result in unconscious bias. As a leader, that can easily happen. So you need to be very, very conscious of the way you select the people to work with, or the way you select the team member per se. Next point is on the quality. Of course, this is a given, right? When we select someone, it's not because of we're biased, but we have to make sure and ensure that this person qualifies to be a member because of their knowledge, skills, ability, and of course, most important thing, their attitude. You don't want to find somebody with high skill, absolutely terrible attitude. So selecting the right person without bias and making sure that you qualify them. And next come, when you are looking for a team for 5 or 6 people, you need to make sure that there's a team fit. Many people can do what you want done, but they cannot work together. It's like a A-list soccer player. You put all the big time players together. They are great on their own, but when you put them together, they cannot work together. So how do you do that? So it's important as a leader, manager, for you to be able to understand the key personality and their behavior, and not just on their skills and ability, because that complements each other. With the skill, they have to have the personality to be able to work as a team, to be able to work together. Because without that, there is no way you will be able to find team alignment. So for a leader to be able to produce an ultimate team, you must be able to put the team together, to be able to come together and to truly understand the dynamic of a team. How do you find alignment? And last but not least, from a team perspective, I've come across many, many teams that was put together. They are put together because there's something that needs to be done. But the leader that was managing the team do not know how to clearly define the objective. And one suggestion is team charter. If you have not come across team charters, it's available, the tool is available on the website. A simple tool, a simple team charter will help you define clearly how do you want this team to come together? How do you want this team to have clarity on the key objective, right? So there's a lot of details that involve it. But as a leader, the important thing is that not to have unconscious bias, because a lot of time biases, we don't even realize it. We see somebody that's good, we take them in. This person may not have the skill. It's fine, we can train, right? But then you have some, I've come across salespeople who are very, very great salespeople, but they have terrible behavior, terrible personality. They're not a team player. So if you're blindsided by that, you need to be more conscious about this model called squad, right? So I'm going to go to the next module. So on team development, this is a simple key tool that you can look at when you implement on your search for your new team member. The last tool I'm going to share is on the, I call it the R2R, organizational development. It is actually a simple model, a 6 steps model that you can even use it for strategic development. You can even use it for your goal setting. It simply explains the roadmap to results. It's how do we get results. So I put them into these 6 boxes to make it easier. Step 1, of course, we need to know what is the strategy. What is it that do you want to achieve? Whether as a leader, whether as the results for the organizations, what kind of roadmap are we looking at? It's kind of like when you're driving, right? You get in the car, you sit behind the wheel, you turn on the engine, you have no clue where you want to go. And when you don't have any clue of where you want to go, the people behind you absolutely don't know what to follow. So the key important, the very one thing about leadership is that you must always understand and know what is your roadmap. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the only one that's trying to come up with what needs to be done. The team that you just built will be able to help guide you or work with you in order to be able to get you to the roadmap, which is the strategy part. But once you know what you want, many people have a tendency to know, this is what I want, let's go do something about it, without having deep thought about the why, right? Like everything else we do. We want to do this, we want to do that. I want to have a better looking dress. I want to have better looking hair. I want to have a lot of things that we want. But what is the true reason behind it? The why. Think about why. You know what you want? Start asking yourself the why. But truly, if you cannot find a good answer to why do you want to do something, don't do it. Because otherwise you'll be running along, not realizing until halfway through, time wasted, money wasted, and you are not going to achieve your goal. Knowing what and knowing why. Now as a leader, you got to work at how are you going to get there? How are you going to lead your team to get there? The route to getting there. We talk about driving to a destination. We talk about getting it. Do you have a car? Can you afford a car? If you don't have a car, can you take the train? These are all the example of the way to get there. How are you going to get there? So when you follow this simple step, what is it that you want? Why do you want it? And do you know how to get there? Right? Now you have it all written down. The next thing is, do you check on the roadblock before you start? Do you look at the challenges that you have to face? Because when you are leading your team, it's not just about telling them what you want, why you want, and how to get there. You also need to work with your team to understand where are the potential challenges, where are the potential roadblocks. Because if, as a very authoritative leader, all you say is, this is what I want to achieve, go get it and make it done, make it happen. It can be very dangerous because the people underneath you might struggle. They might come up halfway through the project, they might come up with challenges and roadblocks. And when that happens, it might be too late. Again, it's about not having the clarity, the proper system and processes to be able to see you through a project. When you understand the roadblocks, when you understand the challenges, that is where you list down the things that you need to do to eliminate, to be able to help you to move forward. And of course, like anything else, in business or in person or as a leader, you cannot do it alone. So what kind of support? In this roadmap, you need to be able to map out the resource that you want. Resource could be the people that you want, could be the infrastructure that you need. All these are very key, important for your success in this roadmap. And of course, last but not least, you need to know exactly what you want to achieve. It has to be tangible. There are tangible result, intangible result. Not only do you need to know what you want to achieve, you need to have a timeline. And then the timeline also has to have clarity on at what point do you find this project a success? At what point do you find it's time for you to walk away? As a leader, this is the part where you have to make a decision because you are leading a team of people to follow you on your roadmap. And it's important for you to map this out with clarity. And this is one simple yet very clear roadmap for your people to know why they are following you. They are following you because there's a common goal for you and the team. And this is the route, and these are all the challenges. When you lay them all out, you will be able to look at them and tackle them one at a time. And when we look at a holistic leadership, not only do you have to prepare yourself, look at yourself from a self-leadership perspective, look at how you are putting a team together and how you are leading a team. And last but not least, you have to be able to have a clear strategy and roadmap in order for the holistic leadership process to work. So I hope this very, very short sharing on this 3 key model has been helpful. I'm sure there's a lot more. I'm just, with the time limit, this is what I'm sharing with you. And thank you all for your time and patience.
Thanks so much, Kim. If you'll maybe take us out of screen share now, I have a question for you before we open it up to the floor.
Okay.
And my question for you is not anything specific in your wonderful presentation, but something more general. I'm sure we all have ticking brains right now about how this applies to our roles in BPW, but that's what I want to ask you. Would you begin to connect the dots between your presentation and our BPW uses?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just taking BPW Singapore, for instance, right? A lot of time, what we're working with our people is always understand yourself. The one message that I told all members who come on board, what we want to look at is for each member to be able to look at not just connections, but look at how they can collaborate, you know, how they can contribute. And to be able to contribute, you have to look within yourself, right? How can you lead yourself to step up, to want to be a part of this community? Because we do not want members to just wait for things to happen. And for a leader, for somebody who's managing themselves, if you are managing yourself correctly, you will know clearly what is it that you need to do in order for you to have that visibility. So managing oneself is very, very important before you can even think about trying to be a part of a team or a group. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Kim. So now I'd like to open it up to the floor. If you know how to use the Zoom raise hand, that's a little easier. And just bear in mind, I'm toggling back and forth between two pages. So I'll try to see everyone in order. If you don't and you're doing this, well, hopefully I'll see you doing that. But if you can use the raise hand function, that would be better. So there is an applause function, which Eva is using right now. Thank you, Eva. I'm sure you are applauding. That's not the raise hand function. So if anybody does want to raise their hand, if you go into, I think it's just next to your own video. But otherwise, if you go into participants list, you'll find it there, I believe. If anyone can help me on that. I've honestly always been hosting, so I never use it. So one thing I'm not as familiar with. Who would like to jump in now with a question or a comment?
I'd love to, if I may.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know who that is, so raise your hand this way or raise your hand. Okay, Darshini, second VP of BPW Singapore, as a matter of fact. Darshini.
You have phenomenal memory, Dr. Anne, I have to say.
You were a speaker for one of my other sessions just a week ago, so 2 weeks ago.
Thank you. Kim, I wanted to ask you a broader question, and this is something that I personally kind of struggle with a little bit as well, is when is it, as an individual, when you feel like, okay, it's time for coaching, and you're a coach, and you've been in those leadership positions, when is the best time to go get coaching? And I feel like I battle with this question a lot. I'm like, is now good? I don't know. Do I need to be facing a problem to go get coaching? Or do I just use it when it's actually a developmental opportunity, or when I feel like I'm doing well or not doing well? Like, I don't know that there's a correct answer here. And I'm curious to know from someone who's been a professional coach in that space for so many years now, what the right approach should be.
Thank you, Darshini. Honestly, any time is a good time to look for a coach, because if you look at if you're waiting for the time to decide if you need a coach, it's kind of like telling yourself, wait till I'm 100%, right? Our life is a journey, whether we are a business person or a professional person. It's a journey. It's going to take us time. At every junction, at every crossroad, there will be something that you are not familiar with. There will be something that you want to learn. As I mentioned earlier about continuous learning, right? Getting a coach is like having somebody to support you in your continuous learning journey. So there's never one time that you don't always have to have, okay, I have this something that I want to fix, so I need a coach. Often than not, through my coaching journey, 100% of the people I've coached so far, they come through telling me that I want to be coached on this, but by the third week, they want to be coached on this. Because a lot of time, there are a lot of internal issues that it doesn't surface until a coach actually reach out to you to kind of like map you out and to find the true areas that you want to be coached. So anytime is a good time.
Great. Okay, who else has a question or a comment? Eva?
Eva?
How do I find a good coach? Have you things for me to say? How to find a good coach?
Okay, of course, if you know someone, reference power is always the best. Word of mouth, right? In the 8 years that I've been coaching, all my business comes from referral. I started doing pro bono, but then eventually it's all being recommended. And that is the best marketing. And that's the best reference for you. Talk to someone, say, I need to be coached. I want to look at something. If anything, in fact, in the last 8 years, I have 2 clients that actually found me on the website. They just simply say, I need a coach, and see what comes out. And then read their testimonial, talk to them. And the other thing that you want to look at when you look for a professional coach is always make sure that the coach is willing to give you a pre-coaching session for free. That is important because that is about finding the fit. You have to make sure that, you are aligned. What I'm looking for, and this person is willing, is able to help me, right? So it's like we talk about, the squad team is the same thing. Making sure that you have to find the fit. So getting a pre-coaching session is always good. Thank you so much, Eva.
Thanks, Kim. So I know we have coaches and coachees in the room, but I also want to now circle back to BPW, the one thing we all have in common. So I wonder if anyone in the room has questions or comments regarding anything that Kim presented that you have applied in your position of leadership in BPW, or you are looking to apply based on this session. Can we connect the two in some way? Any of you leaders? Carmen.
Hi, it's just a question to do with the leadership. And when you made a comment about using your gut and picking the right person, so putting it into a BPW, if you're on a project or creating a project as a leader, and it's in your gut this person is right for you, and you appoint her, and that's fine, but you upset other people. So that within the team, then there can be like a negativity for the fact that you picked her over her. I mean, it's a typical thing of, they say women are always, bitching about this or doing that. But I find that I've actually maybe picked the person. I know they're going to do the job. They're absolutely fantastic. They may not have the same personality as me, but they'll get the job done. But I have upset the person who feels, well, I'm her best friend, or I've been in the club much longer, or, I've done this for you before. So I just wondered, sometimes I find that hard to handle and keep without the negativity coming in. It comes into my work as well. But in particular, as we're relating to BPW, I do see it happen quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for your question. Any of us who have worked with more than 2 women in an environment will have the same challenge. Agree? Yes, right? We all do. It's just the way we are women, the nature. So in order for you to for me, I'll give you an example. For me to be able to find the right team members, as you say, if I pick A, B and C might not be happy about it, right? So they'll come up with all kinds of different reasons, excuses, saying that why you're picking this person over me. Don't you like me anymore? No, it's not that. When we talk about finding a team to do to complete a task for a project, we are very specific and very clear what we're looking for. We want to make sure that we find somebody that is a right fit, right? And right fit, like as I mentioned earlier on, the skill ability is very important. The attitude of the person is very important. Sometimes you might find 3-4 people who has never worked with each other before. The key thing is that always focus on their strength. Pick the strength of this individual. What can they contribute? Then again, when you put a team together, make sure that you don't find all 5 of them have the exactly same skills, knowledge, and ability or personality. You don't want that as well. Then because, it's going to be, you want the different personality. You want the different ability. Somebody might be able to do a lot of research and hates to be in the front. And there's somebody who loves to be a representative. So understanding their skill is pretty much a given, because whether they can or cannot is quite clear in the experience, the time that you have spent with them. So what the important thing is about their behavior and their personality and their attitude. And that's the only way I look at it. If somebody is going to come up and challenge me, then you have to be ready and say, I picked this person because of this. And let this other person self-reflect, right? When somebody come and tells you, why didn't I pass the exam? Well, simply because you didn't get the score, right? You're below. So as a leader, you need to always have that understanding why you did why you're doing what you do. That's the reason why the important is that never pick somebody because you like the person, because that is not a reason, right? So once you clear out, you have 5 simple things that you're looking for, the checkbox is there, and that is your solid answers to anybody that comes to you. And the key important thing is that you as a manager or leader, do not allow that to waver your decision, right? Because decision making is very tough, right? The one thing for sure is that not every decision I make is right. I give myself 10-15% of the time to be wrong. And if I'm wrong, it's okay. I'll talk about it. Let's share. And what can I learn from the failure? And when you take that attitude with your people, they will be more receptive. If you're more open and transparent, they will be more receptive. Is that okay? That answers
Yes,
your
thank
question?
you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very helpful. I'm going to bring it back now tonight to my meeting. Thank you.
That's great.
Something I've learned today.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah.
so next I'm going to turn to Dr. Yasmin, and then Chantal, I have you after that. Yasmin?
Yeah, I have a question because what I found very challenging in BPW is that you not always work with the team that you want. Because we are all elect. You know? For example, at the international level,
Yeah.
I was elected as international president with 10 members from different regions, different beliefs, different languages. So it was not my selection.
Yeah.
So I think that this is one of the biggest challenge in BPW, how to manage this different different leaderships and different also the reason why they run for this position, just because I want to do something, or because I want the title, or because, so this it is really needs a lot of work on that teams. And how can we not having everybody happy, but how can we deal with this? Because I know that always someone will be unhappy.
Right. That's fair. I mean, that's very common in any team, especially for in your case, very challenging because you're talking about global leaders, and these are people who with their own power, own leadership style. What I always say when we come together as a team, when you want to build a team, or let's say my personal my exco at BPW in Singapore, the very one thing that the reason why everybody become a member of BPW is because they want to give something. If anybody that comes in, become a member and think that they want to take something away, they're in the wrong community. This community is all about contribution. So the first thing you have to do is make sure that when you become a president or any kind of leader, be very clear that to have that team charter, I call it team charter. A team charter will provide clarity. This is what BPW is all about. And this is what we want to do. And this is what we're looking for. And be very candid and very open and ask individually, are you aligned with my goal? Are you aligned in an agreement? Yes or no? If you are, great. How can you help contribute and make this better? So when you look at it from this perspective, there are less power struggle. You know, you are already the president or the leader, and somebody who come in and want to be an EXCO member, they know where their position is. So from you as a leader, you have to make sure that you have clarity for every role. Or you have a big conversation and just say, my number one thing is about growing membership, expanding our brand. And you come up with a clear vision, clear roadmap, and then share with the team. And let the team step up and tell you if they agree or disagree. So that is that is fair, because like you say, not everybody is going to agree on how you're going to do it, right? And not everybody sees the roadmap or sees the roadblock. But your first, I always say, if it's a 1-year term, your first 1 month is to iron all this out. Because without clarity, we will all be running in the vicious cycle of trying to figure out, okay, if I do this, she's not going to be happy. If I do that, this one is not going to be happy. It's very similar to the challenges that we talked about earlier on. So when you're leading a team, the first thing as a leader is you must make sure that you have your roadmap. If you have the roadmap and let all the members fill in the roadmap, because everybody coming from a different environment, different country may have a different issue. List them down, list all the challenges, and then say, there's no way I can fix all the 5 items. Why don't we come to our senses and come to our consensus and think about what are the top 3 areas that we can fix as one. If you want to come together, you're going to make sure that you have a common goal. The reason why a lot of people are facing that challenges or being pulled away, in different direction is because there's no one solid plan. There's no one solid roadmap. If somebody so much as come into the community and say, oh, this is not really what I want to do, but can we do something else? Well, your answer is say no, because this is my term, this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to look for all the help and all the people who are willing to connect, communicate, collaborate, and contribute. And if these are the wrong people, then you have the wrong member, and it's okay to vote them out. It's a hard thing for a leader to do. I once run an organization that was a negative profit for 10 years. I went in, I cleaned out 80% of the people. In 2 years, the business turned around and we became profitable. Is that heartless? No, because there is a job that needs to be done. We need to find the right resource to be able to support us, because otherwise it's just going to fall apart. The next president or the one after will continue to face the same problem. I hope I answer your question, Yasmin.
Yes, more or less. The difference is that you cannot fire anyone from your in BPW because they are elect, and this is exactly what I was trying to first of all, we have a very clear governance documents that we have to follow. Mm-hmm. And when someone came and said, well, but I think that this is a better way, yes, but the Constitution is the contrary. We cannot go. But we are a democratic organization. Yes, I understand that we are a democratic organization, but we have a constitution to follow. But I think that this is oh my goodness, it's not easy. I found that even in your own city or in your own country, I've been president of a club and president of a national federation. At the end, what I realize is like everywhere is the same performance with different actors, and we have to be very, very clear about it. We have the member who is a leader, and the member who always complains, the member who feels that she's doing everything and the rest are doing nothing. So it's the same performance with different actors, different nationalities, but it's a huge challenge, and that is why we need to be clear in this area that is a voluntary work.
Correct. There's one thing that I do a lot. When you come across different team members with different personality, different characteristics, they have all their thought about why they are right? The one thing that I can do is I learn to build rapport with each of them. As a leader, as a manager, trust me, you are the good guy, you're also the bad guy. You're also sometimes the devil, because that is the only way you can manage different people with different personality and different requests, different requirements. Because you are the anchor to hold them. And the only way to hold them together is through the relationship. Because, taking out the bylaw, taking out the constituency and all that, sometimes it doesn't help because there's just very hard and fast rules and regulations. And we are human, and you need to have the extended support of a relationship to basically to soften the blow, to soften the reaction of everybody, and try to use that. I hate to use the word manipulate, but to try to manage the people through their heart instead of their head. So sometimes it works.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have Chantal next, and then I have Helen with her hand raised. And looking at our time, that may be all that we have time for today. So we'll see how everything goes. But Chantal, over to you.
Thank you. First, thank you very much for all the wisdom you're sharing today. It really resonates with me. And bringing it back to the question that Dr. Ann asked us of how does this relate to BPW? What I've learned with working with teams for the last 40 years is that if you spend that time building the rapport and finding out what each person's aptitudes are, their interests, their goals, what they like to do and are good at doing, and because BPW is volunteers, how much time they have to give to us in helping us move ahead, then you can assign the tasks in such a way that you get a lot accomplished. In our very small club, we have 2 members who are great at organizing events and doing promotions and things like that. But one is super busy and has very little time to give to us. So she has no problem with the other person taking on that role, even though she might not be at the same level, because that other person has more time. So you answered Dr. Yasmin's question, and I'm going, yep, because it's all about building rapport, finding out who those people are, having that vision, that roadmap, and where possible, getting the buy-in of the people that are on your team to help you create that roadmap, because then you're all working in the same direction while you're bringing in your own strengths in. So that's how I see it working in BPW, and now I'll let somebody else talk.
Exactly. Thank you. That's great.
Thanks, Chantal. And Helen, over to you.
Hello, and thank you, Kim. That was an amazing presentation. And the one thing I think when I heard Dr. Yasmin talk about, and I find myself in that all the time, being a local politician that is elected every term, is that one of the things that resonated with me, Kim, was the anagram that you used, which was squad. And I think that's probably one thing that we as leaders, particularly in a volunteer situation where you can't sack anybody, but you need to unify and adjust to do the delivery of whatever it is, the purpose or the vision of that roadmap. That I think just that simple word squad is something that we should actually use when it comes to delivering anything in BPW, particularly where we've got really strong women who have these incredible views and their own roadmaps that they want to go into. So I just want to say thank you. And that's one thing I'm going to take away with me when I'm sitting around my table, you know, making those decisions and identifying who it is around the table that I need to empower or bring along with me to get my ideas across the line. So thank you, Kim. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. You build your own squad now.
Yes.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, so in our last few minutes, I want to give a minute or two to Kim for any final thoughts, and then a minute or two to Yasmin for any final thoughts, and then I will wrap us up and we'll all go our separate ways. Kim?
Well, first of all, thank you all for being here and participating in being involved in questioning, and also sharing your thoughts about how you're going to apply some of the things that I've shared. Like I always say as a trainer or a coach, what I share is nothing new. It's how it's being packaged and delivered to help you with your thought process. And all of us have the same heart to do more for BPW. So I wish every one of you the best, and in leading your own group, your own women, and become very, very successful. Thank you. Thank you all.
Dr. Yasmin?
Thank you very much, Kim. And I just want to ask you if it is possible to have the number 2 to go with the rest of the points that is pending in your presentation. Can you make this commitment with us?
Yeah, sure. Yes, of course.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, Yasmin. We've already got her to come back. Okay, so thanks to all of you for being here, as always, for your support and your interest. And we hope that you will spread the word to your own affiliates and anyone else you know in BPW. This recording will be available within the next 24 hours on our YouTube channel. Just look for Leadership in BPW, and announced on our Facebook page, same name. And so we do this once a month. We hope that we see you again here next month. It's always the second Wednesday, and next month's theme is, or topic is, youth leadership. So thanks again, Kim, a great and wonderful presentation. I know it's rich for all of us. And thanks again to all of you. Bye for now.